Hello again, everybody, and welcome back to Fisting Jawa Save the Universe and Star Citizen 3.18. The patch just opened up yesterday, and of course, we are going to do another ReShade video. It has been actually quite a while, and I do have some new stuff for you today as far as ReShade goes. Of course, right now here at Area 18, I do have ReShade turned on. We are going to go through a little bit different of a scenario from the past ReShade videos. I'm going to show you all the new shaders we have available. We have our legacy four legacy shaders available from all the previous ReShade stuff, but I also have 3 new ReShade shaders, which I personally like better, so they are going to be included in the shader download, and we're going to go over how to do all of that stuff around here. If you want to skip to a different section of the video, which is perfectly understandable, just look down in the timestamp timeline below here on YouTube, and you'll be able to see the different sections of the video if you want to skip ahead. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go around different places, and I'm going to show you ReShade on and ReShade off, MVG mode and infrared mode and darkened mode. We've kind of renamed our shaders as well. I'm going to show you how to install, remove, troubleshoot, customize, and just kind of do different things here with ReShade. And I think it'll give you a better playable experience here in Star Citizen 3.18. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to hop into our Discord, ask questions in the various public chat forums, or ask one of the folks in the voice rooms or whatever. Someone will get back to you. If I don't get back to you, someone will, and we'll be able to get you straightened out. We've been doing this for almost 2 years now, and we've pretty much gotten everybody who wanted to be on it on ReShade, and most people have a better experience with Star Citizen with it than without it. So right now, just real quick, this is ReShade on. This is my default number 2 HDR plus 2 filter. I'm going to go ahead and turn ReShade off so you can see the difference. Boom. So that's with ReShade off. Notice it is quite a bit brighter. There is a lot more gamma in without ReShade, and this is how the default game looks. Everything right now is turned on. I'm shooting at 4K. Everything is on maximum detail. Chromatic aberration and motion blur turned off, but other than that, everything is at max detail. Let me go ahead and spin around here. You can see Cubby Blast and Kasaba and all that stuff here at Area 18. And let's go ahead and turn ReShade back on. So notice it's a little darker, and to me it's a little more defined. The shadows are better. ReShade in general makes the bright things brighter and the darker things darker, and so it gives more depth and shadow to the game in general. So yeah, without further ado, let's actually head up in a ship, and we'll look at kind of what planets and things look like with ReShade on, ReShade off. We'll go to dark areas and turn MVG on and infrared on, and we'll just see what those things look like, and we'll even hit a bright area and turn on the darken filter so that you can actually see better when you're doing things like mining and salvaging and things like that. Without further ado, let's hit the intro, and then we'll get in how to first install ReShade. Well, uninstall, install, whatever the case may be for you. We're going to hit it all. Roll that intro, Fist. Hey everybody, so this is the part of the video where we're actually going to show you how to first download ReShade and then kind of go from there with setting it up, installing, all that kind of fun stuff. The first place you're going to go is the ReShade website, which will be linked in the description of this video below, but it's basically either do a search on Google for ReShade, or the website's actually reshade.me. Let me switch over to my web screen. There we go. So we have ReShade. It can take a really long time for this website to load. I'm not sure why, but it's just been odd lately. But the current version of ReShade as what is it, March 12th, 2023, is 5.7.0. If you're having trouble getting on the ReShade website, we do have the 5.7.0 version on our Discord, and I'm going to show you how to to download that and all that stuff here in just a few minutes. But first off, here's the website. You can scroll down, you can look at different stuff. You can become a patron. This button here, download ReShade 5.7.0, is all you need. You don't have to do full add-on support. Also at the very top, it's download right there. These do work. If you want to look at the changes for 5.7 versus 5.6, you can go into their forums here, somewhere on here, and it'll tell you the changes and the updates made. But 5.7.0 works just fine with Star Citizen. So I'm going to go ahead and click download ReShade 5.7.0. And you can probably see, yeah, I think on the bottom of the screen, ReShade setup 5. That's actually 5.7. Yep, it's on there. And we're going to close that out. And we're going to head on over to the web browser. Or not the... We're going to head on over to my File Explorer. Okay, so here we are at the File Explorer. We're going to bring up download section. Here's ReShade setup 5.7.0. You may want to remove the old ReShade version. You don't have to. You can just modify your current install. But if you wanted to remove it, let me show you what to do. First off, go to your Star Citizen directory. Mine just happens to be on a separate drive, which I call my Z drive. But it's going to be Program Files, Robert Space Industries, Star Citizen. And you can install it on Live or PTU. It's the same steps for PTU. You would just use a different directory. But I currently have 5.7.0 installed on the Live. And I'm going to show you the fastest way to get rid of it. Just double click on Live, and this will get rid of all your stuff for ReShade. Everything is stored in the bin64 folder, so we can double click on that. We have the ReShade INI, the ReShade log, the preset.ini, as well as the ReShade shaders and the presets themselves. So if you have a decent speed internet or something, you could just delete the ReShade files, presets, and shaders, and ReShade will go away for Star Citizen. Or what I like to do is just delete the entire bin64 directory. So I will go in there, I will hit delete, continue, and boom, it's gone. So before we can install ReShade, though, we need to actually verify files with Star Citizen before we can install it. So the launcher is up here. It doesn't know that I just deleted the executable and all that stuff. So we're going to go over here to settings. Then we're going to verify files. We're going to let Star Citizen do its thing. It's going to read its manifest. Be like, oh, you need your game files. So as you can see kind of in the background there in the File Explorer, it is re-downloading all of bin64 with the newest version. Boom, and the game's ready to launch. So we can minimize that. We go into bin64. Here's everything without any ReShade in it. Notice there's no ReShade files, there's no shaders or any of that stuff. So if you want, well, first thing we're going to do before we grab my shaders, we're going to install ReShade 5.7.0. So I'm going to head on over to my downloads. I'm going to double click ReShade Setup 5.7.0. I am going to go back to Star Citizen. Okay. Here's my installer right here. Star Citizen is not on any of these games that show up, although you can install ReShade on these because it's not a release game. So you do need to hit browse. Once you hit browse, it's going to bring up a little directory. It does, in fact, know that I was looking on here before, but you're going to have to navigate to your Star Citizen directory, which wherever you install it, it's going to be Program Files, Robert Space Industries, Star Citizen, and I'm going to go on the Live version. So double click Live, Double click bin 64. Don't put it on the launcher. Put it on bin 64. And then there's the Star Citizen.exe file, the executable. You're going to click that. Then you're going to click on open. That fills in down here under the setup. And then you're going to go ahead and hit next. Once you hit next, it's going to ask you what rendering API Star Citizen uses. As far as 318 goes, guys, we are still on DirectX 11. Okay, we're not on 12. We are not on Vulkan, 9, OpenGL, 10, any of that. But out of the 4 options here, you want DirectX 11 option, the second one down. You're going to click next. Select the preset to install. Notice it already installed ReShade INI log and the preset INI. So that's already in there. You're not going to click anything here. You're just going to click next because there's nothing to pick. From next, what I do, and it's fine for you to do it. I don't think you have to do it, but you should do it. Standard effects and Sweet FX. Those are the 2 standard things. So I don't click anything on here. I just leave these things already done. If they're not checked, make sure to check Sweet FX and Standard Effects. Then you're just going to click next. It's going to extract them, and it's going to show you all of the Sweet FX files that's going to be installed. Notice ReShade shaders already got put as a folder in this directory. I'm not going to uncheck or check anything. I'm just going to hit next. Boom. And finish. All you got to do here is just hit finish. Boom. Now I actually have ReShade installed for Star Citizen 318, and it's ReShade version 5.7. Now ReShade's great, but you need shaders for ReShade. Otherwise, it's just post-processor that doesn't actually have any filters or shaders. So if you want my shaders, then you're going to have to go to my Discord. I keep them there because it's a handy place that most people go to, and it exposes you to my Discord. Yeah, I have a little bit of an ulterior motive. So sorry about that, but that's how it goes. So on the Discord, which the link is in the doobly-doo below, under Sons of Valhalla Public, and this might, by the time you get here, it might say B Team Public because we are rebranding the channel. But as of right now, it's going to pop you up probably into start here. If you do want to explore our Discord and talk to people and be involved in the stream or whatever, you can choose these little icons down here to be part of the B Team, Java with Jawa, mining, space engineers, content creation, things like that. If you have no interest in that and you just want to get the ReShade, that's fine. But just let you know it's out there. There's a lot of people are out there. As a matter of fact, we have people playing right now in the Salvage Comp. So there's a lot of stuff in the Discord. Over here under public, there is a channel called ReShade. Obviously, we're going to click on ReShade. It brings you to the ReShade channel. Right up here at the very top, it kind of tells you about some issues that AMD graphics card people have had, some troubleshooting tips, some other issues that you may have. But really, the 2 big things are the 318 version of Star Citizen. Here is ReShade Setup 5.0. So if the ReShade website's not working, you can grab ReShade right here on my Discord. For the shaders, I call them presets 318.zip. That's it. So it tells you basically where to put them and all that stuff, but we're going to go over that in this video. So hopefully you're still watching. We're going to click on presets 3.18.zip. It's going to ask me if you want to download. Continue to download. Takes us back to our internet browser window. There we go. And it's under presets. It does download on the internet. So presets.318.zip. I clicked it. It showed up. Let's go back to our other file explorer. So you can call the folder whatever you want. I usually just call it presets, but presets 318 is fine as well. Notice inside the zip file here is HDR. I numbered them, okay? 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so there's 7 different filters here, guys. I ordered them by the way I like them. So I start out with my default shader as HDR plus 2 or HDR 2.0. High dynamic range. It's just a more detailed version of ReShade. Then I use night vision 2 as my second one, infrared 2, then darken. And then I switch back to the originals, HDR Plus, which is what I have from last version, the original night vision, and the original infrared. I kept those on there for you guys in case you wanted to use them. You can get rid of any of these filters if you don't want them. You can change the numbers. The reason I keep the numbers is because when I actually scroll through the shaders in the game, they'll go from 0 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4, or back up the other way. And that's the way I like it. So I think in my mind, HDR, night vision, infrared, darken, blah, 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 blah. So you don't want to extract them directly into bin 64. What you want to do is make a folder in here called presets or something like that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my downloads, and I'm going to take this file, I'm going to right click it and hold it, drag it over to an empty space in my bin 64 directory, release it. Because I have 7-zip, I can extract the files. Right here is presets underscore 3.18. And boom. So it created a folder in here called presets 3.18. If I double click it, here is all my presets already ready to go. That's literally how to install ReShade and how to put the presets on your machine. Now we have to boot up into Star Citizen, and I'm going to have to show you in there how we set up ReShade. So let's attempt to get into 3.18, even though it just came out. There's a lot of issues going on. So stay tuned. I'll cut over to Star Citizen in just a second. All right, guys. So Star Citizen is now loading. On the top of the screen, you can see all the way on the top where it says ReShade 5.7.0. Visit the websites for effects. ReShade is now installed successfully. Press home to start the tutorial. As soon as we actually get off the loading screen, we're going to do that. We're going to set up ReShade here with you on the video. Just hang on another second. Okay, as you can see, we finally, after having to restart it, loaded into 3.18. This is Star Citizen's basic screen with ReShade off, right? There is no ReShade on here, I can tell, because the gamma is turned up a little bit. Just to show you guys real quick in the options, the graphics, the gamma is at 50, brightness at 50, contrast at 50. It's in 4K. Everything is set to like very high. I turned motion blur off, film grain off, and chromatic aberration and sharpening. Those are my basic graphic settings there. So from here, we can actually set up ReShade here at the start menu screen. As it says in the top left, you need to hit home. So we will hit home. We will go up into what it says here. There's like a tutorial thing talking about all the different stuff with ReShade. I skipped the tutorial, and I recommend you do the same because I'm going to show you how to do it right here. So skip tutorial. That brings you to the basic screen for ReShade. Notice none of the preset stuff, I don't think any of it's saved. It thinks our ReShade preset.ini is the whole thing. We're going to switch that over to 3.18. I'm sorry, presets underscore 3.18. We're going to click that guy and we're going to hit select. This is going to give us a bunch of the presets. We're just going to click 00 HDR plus 2 and hit select. Notice the screen got immediately darker, a little more detail as well. And it picked up the curves, all these different filters to kind of give it this darker darks, lighter lights, and just overall to give it a little more detail. That's actually all we have to do right now. But I'm going to go in and modify this thing to actually show you what settings I use. So we're going to go ahead and hit the settings button on the top, and you can see it has an overlay key, effect toggle, effect reload, next and previous presets, and some other stuff in here. The first thing I'm going to do is go to the overlay key, and I don't like just using basic like home or scroll lock or something like that. I like having a modifier to it, so I will use the Alt key, the left Alt key specifically, to bring up all my ReShade stuff. So to change the overlay key, you just click in the box here where it says home. I'm going to hold down left Alt and press home. So now to actually close this ReShade box, I'd actually hit Alt home. To turn reshade on and off, I'll click in there and I'll hit Alt Scroll Lock, and that'll actually let me turn reshade off and on. Then the only thing I change in here is the next preset key in the previous. For next, you make it Alt Page Down, and for the previous, I make it Alt Page Up. So that's how I set up all those settings. Under here, there is a startup preset with a folder icon. I click that and I choose bin 64 presets. I choose my HDR+2. You can choose something else if you want. If you want to start an MVG all the time, that's up to you. This thing automatically knows that my effect search paths are ReShade shaders / shaders. And it already knows that my texture search path is ReShade shaders / textures. If for some reason those are messed up or something, you can hit the minus button and you can set that back up. Okay, the next part in here is my screenshot key. I actually changed this from print screen to alt print screen. I was having issues with Star Citizen before of having it just with print screen. It wasn't saving them. Don't know why, but when I changed the key, it fixed it. So I could also change the path that I save my screenshots to. I would recommend you do that. So you click the little folder and it brings up Star Citizen Live, and there's a folder already in there called screenshots. I just click that, I hit select. Now it saves it to screenshots. You can also change the naming convention of your screenshots and the format. I keep them as PNG files, stock default naming convention. But down here a little bit under the restart tutorial thing, it says show screenshot message. I turn that off because I take a lot of screenshots and I don't want to see the little text on top saying screenshot saved. Other than that, that is it for my settings. The other things I do, I don't mess with add-ons. I don't mess with statistics. There is a log file if you want to see a log of all your stuff if you're having issues. There's an about section and then back to the home page. So to get rid of this, like I said, it's the home key, but alt home for me. Bam, we're back in Star Citizen. From this menu, we can actually change the effect. So I'm going to go ahead and hit alt page down. It's going to take us to MVG mode. This is MVG 2.0. If I hit it again, it's going to take us to infrared 2.0. One more time, that's darken. One more time, that is HDR 1.0, MVG 1.0, and infrared 1.0. And then one more time, it's going to cycle back around to HDR 2.0. You can also do this if you bring up your reshade again. Let's see up top here, it's on HDR+2. You can actually cycle these settings by clicking the left and right keys up here. You want to do that. So that, guys, is really it for taking reshade out, putting reshade back on, installing it, setting it up here. If you are having issues with reshade, I really suggest you hit us up on the Discord. If you do already have it installed, reshade, and you are going to install 5.7 on top of it, that is fine. Just go ahead and because it's not going to be a new install, it's going to ask you to modify or uninstall. Just leave it on modify and just click next all the way through. You don't need to mess with any of the other settings. It'll save your keybinds and all that stuff will still be the same from last time. You'll just have the newer version of reshade up there. And as far as changing the shaders around, that's up to you guys how you want to do that. You can make reshade do a lot of different things. Take out my shaders, don't use them, use somebody else's, whatever. Just remember that there is no depth buffer in and there hasn't been for over a year. So a lot of the old shaders that used to give you more detail and show you where people were behind walls, you can't do that no more. So that's it, guys. On to the next section where we're actually going to show the reshade in the game and kind of how all that stuff works. And we'll see you in that next section. Thanks for watching. And if you haven't already, please smash that like and subscribe button. Hit the bell notification if you want to know when we upload new videos. And if there's any new reshade stuff, stay tuned. And if you have any new shaders or filters, please let me know. I'd love to test them out, and they might end up in my shader folder for the next iteration of this video. Thanks for watching so far. See you in the next section. All right, everybody. So in this part of the video, I want to show examples of the different types of presets and kind of what they do. We're here at Area 18 on ArcCorp. At night, it's fairly new night, but it's past dusk. And this is the game with ReShade off. So, I mean, it's actually off and it looks great. The game looks awesome, right? I think a lot of us came to Star Citizen for the visuals. But something to note, and what I think makes the game look better, is when we turn ReShade on. So this is right now ReShade off, and I'm going to turn on the HDR plus 2 filter or shader, and bam. So this is with ReShade on the HDR plus 2, and like I said before, it makes the darks darker, it makes the lights lighter, and it overall adds more of a realistic aesthetic in my point of view. It's high dynamic range, right? It's HDR, and I like it. I like the way it looks. But if this is a little too dark for you, and you're trying to find your way, especially out in space, where making the darks darker may not be such a great thing, we have an MVG filter or shader. So I have 2 of them in here. This is going to be the primary one I use, but it's going to be MVG2 basically. And let's turn that on. I do not like the flashing of when this filter comes on, but that's just kind of how it goes. I didn't write any of these shaders. I'm just presenting them to you guys if you want to use them. So this is kind of what MVG 2 looks like. And I kind of like the green. I had a filter before that had a little more film grain in it, and it looked a little more realistic to me. But that's with modern day MVGs, which are grainy. So this is actually much less grain, but you can see everything very clearly. I'm now going to switch over to infrared 2 shader, and that's going to make everything kind of, well, you see a little bit of color, but it's mostly monochrome. It cranks that gamma brightness way up, and we call it infrared. It's not a thermal vision. We just like the name infrared. So again, it makes things, you can see things much clearer. It's really nice for flying into asteroid fields and stuff, especially if you don't like the green tint of the MVG filter. The next one is going to be our original HDR plus filter. Oh, I'm sorry. This is going to be the darkened filter. So of course this makes everything super dark. We only have one filter or shader for this because the original, written by Mr. Boy, was phenomenal, and I like the way it turned out. So this is that darken filter. You can still see all the colors, especially the greens and the reds and the blues and stuff, because it's made for mining. Mining in very bright areas like Lyria and Cellen. The next filter here, this is the original ReShade HDR Plus version 1. I really like it. I've been using this for years, but I do like the newer version better. The next one is going to be the original MVG 1 filter. Notice there is no flickering, but I prefer the other MVG filter. It's a little less bright, and this one works really good. It's just, this is the way it goes. And the last one is going to be the original infrared filter, which it has that weird flashing as well. I don't know why that is, but this one is also, I mean, they're all bright, but this one's just a little too bright for me. I don't know, it kind of hurts my eyes a little bit. And we'll go back to the original, well, not the original, but the first filter I showed you, which is the HDR 2.0. This has quickly become my favorite shader or filter. And I'm going to turn ReShade off. So here's with ReShade off. This is the game with gamma and everything, you know, normal, everything at 50% max detail for everything, and that's kind of what it looks like. And then with ReShade HDR 2.0 on. So that's what you see when you see kind of a city in the dark. Now we're going to fly up into space, and we're going to look at like a space station and the different filters. We'll go to an asteroid field. We'll do things like that. So practical examples of ReShade in Star Citizen 318. Stay tuned for the next part. All right, guys. So we came up into space, and you can probably see it in front of me, maybe, depending on the size of your screen. But directly in front of me, above Area 18, is Baijini Point. And when it's dark and Area 18 is on the dark side, Baijini Point's on the dark side of the sun, right? So we're in the shadow. And it's hard to see. It's hard to fly to. It'd be easy to wreck into something. This is with ReShade on in the HDR2 preset. We're going to go ahead and turn ReShade off. So this is ReShade off. You can see the silhouette of the station much easier with ReShade off. And maybe that's how you want to play. There's nothing wrong with that. Play the game however you want to play the game. I like a little more realism, I guess. So this is with ReShade off. This is with ReShade on, the HDR 2.0. And now, hopefully I'll blow your mind, because I'm going to turn MVG 2.0 on. Boom, MVG 2.0. So now you can really see the silhouette of Baijini Points. You kind of know where you're going, and it makes the other stuff, you know, the bright stuff green. I'm going to go ahead and turn on Infrared 2.0. And boom. This version of infrared, although it does show some color, it is mostly monochrome, and there's a little bit of film grain, so keep that in mind. And now I'm going to turn on the darken filter, and you're not going to be, I mean, other than the flashing lights, and other than you can't see the stars behind it, it's hard to see Baijini Point at all. I'll go to the original 1.0 HDR, which looks very similar to the first one, but I like the first one better. Here's MVG 1.0. Pretty much the same thing as before. And here's Infrared 1.0. So you can see more color in here. It's just things are a little bit more washed out, but it's much easier to see Baijini Point. And there we go, back to regular ReShade. So because it's dark here, I am going to turn on MVG mode. And we're going to go ahead and fly our way here over to Baijini Point. And just kind of show you kind of what it looks like with MVG mode on. Keep in mind this is MVG 2.0, and so it's pretty darn clear and obvious. This is the space station, and these are the kind of things you can see. So much easier to do things like landing and flying away and avoiding obstacles and things like that. From here, I'm going to turn on Infrared 2.0, and yeah, it's monochrome. You can see there's a little bit of color there, especially if there's a light involved with a certain color. But again, you can easily tell this is you know, Baijini Point and a space station and things like that. We'll go ahead and slow down. We'll turn on darken. Can't see nothing at all. Here's regular HDR 1.0, MVG 1.0. Infrared 1.0, which is quite a bit different from the other infrared, right? And hopefully you saw in the other part of the video how you can change the numbers of these shaders to, or get rid of the shaders if you don't want them. And you can have a kind of a customized ReShade experience here. And then we'll go back to regular HDR 1.0, which still looks so good, so good. And oh, wait, that was HDR. This is HDR 2.0. And yeah, and then we'll go ahead and turn ReShade off right here. So with ReShade off, you can see still very well, and it does help in the darker areas. Just again, I like the more realism here. So let me turn ReShade back on, and there we go. So that is Baijini Point. Throwing into MVG, and it looks good. I'm actually going to run inside here and set my spawn point, because there's obviously issues with 318 upon launch, and I'd rather be down here than on the planet. Next, we're going to try to go into an asteroid field. Oh, I guess you want to see what it looks like from the cockpit. This is what MVG mode looks like from the cockpit. And we'll go into Infrared 2.0. So you can still see a lot of the colors and things like that. Here's darken mode, very hard to see with this. HDR 1.0, MVG 1.0, Infrared 1.0. much more color, much more washed out, and then back to HDR 2.0. So with that, I'm gonna call a landing. I'll see you at the next section where it's even darker. All right, folks, so here we are on the dark side of Lyria, which is a moon of ArcCorp. This is actually with ReShade HDR 2.0 on. We could see the horizon pretty well of the moon. We can see that there's another ship out there, and in general, we can kind of see certain things. Let me go ahead and turn ReShade off. There we go. We can see a little bit more of the moon. It's still very dark. There are some tricks as far as seeing things without reshade or with the basic HDR of reshade on, and that's to scan, where you'd hit tab. You kind of see a layout. Not only do you see all the minables, but you kind of see a layout of the topography. So we know there's some mountains up here. Right, we can see the peaks up there. But I'm gonna turn reshade back on. It's very hard to see with reshade on, especially in the dark. So we could continue to scan and fly around like that and do things like that, or we could just use our MVG shader, and we'll go ahead and turn that on now. And even though we have kind of a darkened upper glass here in the Scorpius, when we get below the cloud layer, let me go ahead and go into third person. We can see much more of the terrain, even from distance. We can see that there's mountains up here. I'll go ahead and go back to regular ReShade HDR 2.0. Yeah, you can see that, but there is a little bit of dawn on that horizon, it looks like. Not as dark as I guess I wish I would have gotten for this part of the video. But these mountains straight ahead of me, hard to see. If I scan it, yeah, I can see the topography, and I got to memorize that. But if I'm just flying along, there's definitely a chance that I could run into something. So that's why we have MVG mode. Now I can clearly see the mountains and their details and things like that. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on infrared 2.0. Boom. And while it is a little bit monochrome, the black and white, again, I can even more clearly see the topography and the rocks and where all the obstacles are for this part of Lyria. And I can fly in between them, etc., etc. If I want to go darken, now I really can't see anything. That's more for mining. We're going to get into that next. Here is HDR 1.0, still very dark. Here's the original MVG 1.0. Still very good for showing us topography and light and darkened conditions. And the original infrared, which actually shows more probably what this terrain looks like with color, because it is very snowy, it is very gray, rocks are very black. And then we'll go back to our default ReShade HDR 2.0. So there we go. There is MVG mode. Let me know what you guys think about the darkened conditions and using MVG and infrared. Go ahead and turn on infrared. I think they're fantastic. I use them on a daily basis, so want to be able to make sure you have that same opportunity. All right, now we're going to go grab a prospector, and we're going to come back to Lyria, and we're going to go on the bright side where it's extremely bright, and we're going to try to turn on the darken filter and do a little bit of mining if we can. All right, so stay tuned. All right, guys, so we're back here in a 318. Believe it or not, this is Lyria, moon of ArcCorp, and we are trying to mine. Right now, mining is broken because I can't actually, it won't scan the rock. I mean, I guess believe it, because this isn't mineable, and it's not actually scanning anything with the rock while in mining mode. It's a bug in the game, but I wanted to show you. This is how bright it can get in Lyria, and I know it's a lot of white on your screen here, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn reshade off. And so it's kind of washed out a little bit here. You can clearly see the rock. The problem is it's very hard to see the text on the screen there. Mining laser, the arbor, MH1, things like that. And when you turn reshade back on, because it makes the whites whiter, it kind of washes out everything. As I look up into the sky, you can clearly see the text on the screen better, but it's kind of like this light blue. And when you go up against the white, it just washes out. It's very hard to see. So we do have a filter or a shader for this. It helps a little bit. It's not the end all be all, but if I go down, I'm going to go through. Here's my MBG, way too bright. Here's infrared, extremely bright. And here's the darken filter. So with the darken filter, it does darken up kind of everything you can see that's not, it's not white. That screen is actually significantly darker than it was earlier. And it's supposed to let you go on these bright areas and let you mine and be able to see colors better and mute some of the whites, but it is just so bright here at Lyria. It's doing the best it can. So even though I'm not going to be able to charge this rock and actually mine it because mining's broken, you can hopefully see the benefits of using the mining filter. You can actually see the beam here, and I'll just kick it up a little bit and I'll scroll back to the, I'll turn reshade off. There's reshade off. You can still see it fairly well. Here's darken filter on. When we go back to our regular preset, it's still a little washed out. It's hard to see. So I would recommend turning the darken filter on. And then, you know, when we're actually able to mine and this game actually works, you will be able to see the colors better. I wish I could show you a better example now, but I'd really just like to get this game, this video out, versus having to go try to find a mineable that actually works. I'm not sure if there's any of them. But this is actually, you've seen the darken filter in other areas of the game, and this is with it on. This is how bright white Lyria gets. So just keep that in mind. I will go ahead and turn on regular HDR 2.0, and it's just even significantly brighter. So sorry about that. When you can look at some of the other reshade videos and see how the darken filter actually works. Here's a good example. Here's, you can see what is that? Big Genie Point and ArcCorp up there. And I'll get the sun in there a little bit. I'll turn on MBG, way too bright, right? Here's the infrared, way too bright. Here's the darken filter. You can see how much darker that actually made the screen. It's easier for me to go to HDR 1.0 and darken. So here's HDR, here's darken, HDR, and darken. So it does make things as dark as it can, with you still be able to see colors. So it is just, like I said, it's designed for areas that are very bright. You can darken them up so you can actually see things instead of this bright white light. And that's it for that. Let's move on to, I think, the finale. I think that's it for the reshade video, and so I'll see you there. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that was the reshade video. It's too bad 3.18 is so buggy upon its initial release. I thought we had worked out so many more issues in PTU, but I hope you also saw the benefit of having reshade. I don't play Star Citizen without it anymore. It's that important to me to make the visuals pop that much more. This patch was in PTU so long, and we've been testing it so long that I thought the launch would be better, but no matter. I really want to know what you think about reshade. Don't forget to head on over to the Discord and check out reshade there. I do bring you to the Discord because One, it's an easy place to store the files. Two, we have an awesome community with the B team and Sons of Valhalla and Java with Jawa. And a lot of these people are veterans of Star Citizen, and they can help you out with issues with ReShade if I can't help you or Java can't help you. And just to get you into the game and get you playing around with even more detail, even higher clarity, and to fix some of the issues the game is lacking. Just to let you know that the CIG developers don't think that ReShade is cheating. They specifically allow it through EAC. They turned off what was called the depth buffer, and that allows you to use things like the infrared and the MVG modes, because those type of visual effects aren't in the game yet. Maybe one day they will be. I hope so. But until they are, we have this tool to help us see things better and make things look better. I don't think it's cheating. I think you can actually do a lot of this stuff on your own if you were to go into the graphic options and turn up your gamma or turn down the brightness or adjust this setting and tweak this setting. You probably can't do the tints like an MVG to make it green, but other than that, you can do a lot on your own if you wanted to. It doesn't reveal people behind walls or anything like that, like in other games where you can access the depth buffer. So it's really just visual tweaks, and it helps me get more immersed in the game, and it's more real. So let me know what you think in the comments below. Please like and consider subscribing if this video helped you out, or if you're interested in it. Like 90% of our viewers are unsubscribed, so just clicking that subscribe button helps us out a lot, gets us some more notoriety in YouTube, and helps grow the channel. If you are interested in becoming a paid channel member with either Patreon as a Twitch subscriber or a YouTube channel member, you do get special perks in the Discord, like early access to videos, unlimited access to our Mid-Journey AI arts. You become a member of that stream team. We do actually do a ton of giveaways and stuff, but most of them are on stream and most of them are not announced. And you can get kind of priority viewing on some of that. You get entered into giveaways even if you're not there, if you're a paid member, and things like that. So give us a shout. Let us know. Thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. If I can get it done in 318, I guess we'll see. I am Fist-25. You guys have a good one. Good night, Stan.